They convicted Marcus Cole of second-degree murder in 2013. Then a FOIA request to a regional telecom carrier surfaced a deleted 911 call, one that the prosecution told the jury never existed. The official story was simple, and juries tend to like simple. On the night of October 14, 2011, Cole's girlfriend, Renata Vasquez, was found dead in her apartment on Deering Avenue in Portland, Oregon. Blunt force trauma. The medical examiner placed time of death between 11:00 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. 3 witnesses put Cole at her building earlier that evening. A neighbor heard shouting. His fingerprints were on a ceramic vase with blood on its base. He had no alibi for the window. The DA called it a domestic dispute that escalated. The jury deliberated 4 hours. Cole got 25 years. But first, the call itself. Because the call is what this case stands or falls on, and you need to understand exactly what it is before you understand why it was buried. In 2019, a paralegal working Cole's appeal filed a blanket FOIA request with Pacific Northwest Telecom for all cellular and landline activity associated with Vasquez's apartment address, not just her personal number, but the building's hardwired unit. What came back was a manifest. Buried in that manifest, under a column marked disposition, abandoned was a 7-second 911 call placed at 11:22 p.m. from the apartment's landline. The dispatcher had marked it abandoned and closed the log. The digital recording had been flagged for routine deletion, except the telecom's backup server in Salem had captured it before the purge. The audio file sat in cold storage for 8 years. And on that file, if you listen carefully beneath the ambient noise, you can hear a man's voice in the background, not panicked, not shouting, calmly saying 2 words before the line drops. Forensic audio enhancement, conducted by an independent lab in 2020, isolated them clearly. She's breathing. Here is the contradiction the trial record cannot survive. The prosecution's core argument placed the fatal blow no later than 11:15 p.m. because at 11:19 p.m., Cole's cell phone pinged a tower 4.2 miles from the apartment. That ping states Exhibit 31 was the cornerstone of the timeline. The jury was told it proved Cole fled after the killing. But the 911 call came in at 11:22 p.m., 3 minutes after Cole's phone was already miles away. And someone inside that apartment was saying she was breathing. Either Renata Vasquez was alive 7 minutes after the medical examiner said she died, or Marcus Cole was not the last person in that apartment. The question is why this call was never part of the trial, and here is where it gets uncomfortable. The call's abandonment log was processed by dispatcher Tina Harlow, badge number 1147, Portland Bureau of Emergency Communications. Standard procedure for an abandoned call is to cross-reference the address for active calls within a 15-minute window. That cross-reference would have flagged the address. A neighbor had called in a wellness check on Vasquez at 11:31 p.m. The link was never made. Cole's defense attorney filed a discovery request in 2012 specifically asking for all 911 activity at the Deering Avenue address on that date. The Bureau's official response: no calls on record. The backup server in Salem was a third-party archiving service the Bureau had contracted for data redundancy. Nobody asked them. Nobody knew to ask. The backup manifest was technically a telecom billing artifact, not a 911 record. That is the gap it fell through. But the call wasn't the strangest part. When the audio enhancement report came back in 2020, the lab flagged something the FOIA team hadn't noticed: the originating account number on the landline. The 911 system logs the account holder even on abandoned calls. The landline had been transferred 14 months before the murder out of Renata Vasquez's name. The account holder on record for that phone on the night of October 14, 2011 was a man named Dale Vasquez, Renata's older brother. Dale Vasquez, against whom Renata had filed a restraining order in August of 2011, 2 months before her death. That order was in the county court system. It was never subpoenaed. It was never mentioned at trial. Dale Vasquez was never called as a witness, never named in the prosecution's case, never identified as having any connection to the apartment that night. He had legal access to that phone line. His name was on the account. What this means for Marcus Cole's conviction is not a small thing. It means the jury convicted him on a timeline a 7-second audio file quietly dismantles. It means a call that should have triggered a cross-reference didn't. It means a restraining order naming a man with documented access to that apartment, filed against him by the victim, was sitting in a courthouse 2 miles from Cole's trial and never came in. Cole's attorneys filed for post-conviction relief in 2021. The motion is still pending. The Portland Bureau of Emergency Communications said the matter was reviewed internally. They found no procedural violation. Marcus Cole has been in the Oregon State Correctional Institution for 13 years. He maintains he did not kill Renata Vasquez. The man who said she was breathing at 11:22 p.m. has never been identified. Dale Vasquez has never been questioned in connection with his sister's death. No one has ever explained why the landline was still in his name.